Are you tracking your calories and not losing weight? Is it frustrating to be so methodical about putting all of that food into a little app and not see the results that you're looking for? It's something I see a lot. I've tracked over several periods over the course of my fitness career, and I have clients track a lot of the times, and they will come to me perplexed, wondering why they are eating 1,500 calories, tracking their food, and still not losing weight. Which brings me to reason number one, why tracking your nutrition doesn't work. You're not eating 1,500 calories. Your portions are wrong, and ultimately you're not in a calorie deficit. And now this video isn't here to debate a scientific principle. If you want to learn more about calorie deficits, you can check this study out from the American Journal of Physiology down below in the description. And real quick, don't feel bad if you're new to this concept of tracking and you're a beginner and you're doing your best. Getting portions right can take a lot of time. It's a skill, it's something that you get better at over time. And I'll give you a few examples on how portions can vary a significant amount from one food to another. Let's say you have a cheeseburger. Is it a McDonald's cheeseburger? Is it a cheeseburger that you made at home? Is it one patty? Is it two patties? What's the bun? What are the sauces on it? There can be a lot of variance on all the different ingredients and the size of that cheeseburger. So you might have a 300 calorie cheeseburger, or you might have had a 1,500 calorie cheeseburger. But if all you do is just put a cheeseburger in, and that's the first thing that you see of the 10 or 15 different cheeseburgers when you go and select that in, let's say, MyFitnessPal, well, that right there created a big variance. Another one that's really common to see, you track that you had some cheese, right? Let's say you put 2 ounces of cheese on your burrito. Sometimes it's 2 ounces, sometimes it's 2 whole blocks, and you ended up putting a lot more cheese than you realize. Again, this might be something that you didn't even realize and you are just now learning, or there might be a little bit of cognitive bias here and you're looking at it and saying, yeah, that seems about 2 ounces, when in reality, if you were to measure it, it's much more. And overall, I think the big message here is to make sure that you're being honest with yourself. If you're getting some peanut butter and you're putting it on some toast, make sure that you're not just saying, that looks like it's a tablespoon. Be honest with yourself. Is it 3 tablespoons? Is it 1 tablespoon? Being able to be more accurate with your portions is gonna help you be better at tracking your nutrition and ultimately getting the results that you are after. Here's 3 tips that'll help you track your nutrition and portion sizes a little bit better. Number 1, make sure that you are breaking out ingredients of meals that you're having. So let's say you're having a cheeseburger. Break out the bun, break out the patty, break out the cheese, break out the bacon, break out the avocado. If you do that, you're gonna be much more likely to be accurate with what it is that you're tracking. Number 2, make sure you're scanning the codes of your food as often as you can. That's gonna help you be more accurate. And number 3, especially if you're eating out, I would add a 20% buffer to whatever it is you're tracking. It's not the chef's job to have you hit your fitness goals. It's their job to have you eat as much food and buy as much food as possible. So they're putting on all the sauces, all the oils, all of the extra little things that do count towards your calories to make you eat more and make you enjoy it and make you come back. So I would just give yourself that little bit of a buffer. No, but Paul, you don't understand. I'm weighing all my food, my portions are correct. There's no way I'm getting this one wrong. And that might be totally fair and valid. Which brings me to the second reason why tracking your calories and tracking your nutrition does not work. You aren't being consistent with it. 6 out of 7 days ultimately isn't consistent. 3 out of 4 weeks ultimately isn't consistent. Even if you're being super mindful with everything you eat and you track 80, 90% of it over the course of a day, you can still be off by hundreds, if not thousands of calories. One example on this is that a lot of people and a lot of clients that I work with will say, I was on vacation, or I was out to eat, or it was really hard to track what they made for me at the wedding, and so I just didn't. And it's in those moments when it's really hard to track, when you are more likely to be eating highly palatable foods, more likely to be drinking, more likely to be having extra sides. And so you might have had 1,500 calories Monday through Friday, and then you didn't track the weekend, and then you had 3,500 calories on both those days. Ultimately, over the course of a week, that puts you at a maintenance. Maybe it puts you at a surplus. Maybe it puts you at a slight deficit, whatever it is. That all gets tallied up and looked at over the course of a week as far as the metabolism in the body is concerned. Here's another example of inconsistencies. You're not counting the little things. You might get the big meals, you might get the big things that you can scan, but you're not tracking the oils that you're putting on the pan as you go and make scrambled eggs. You're not counting the calories that are in the alcohol or in the sugary drinks that you're having. That could be 100, 200 calories per drink, right? You're not counting the coconut whipped cream that you pop into the fridge, squirt into your mouth as you're walking, and you do that 3 or 4 times over the course of a day, right? Maybe that's just me, but those all count. And I think that's a really big thing. If you look at it from a financial situation, you might be budgeting your car, you might be budgeting your house, you might be budgeting the big ticket items, but it's those little $10 purchases, those little $15 purchases. If you're doing those every single day, they still add up and they still count. And there's one more form of inconsistency that I'll see, and it's inconsistency with when you're tracking your meals. You might be tracking your meals that you have for breakfast or lunch all at the end of the day at dinner. Or maybe it's even 12 hours later or 24 hours later even. And ultimately, it's really hard to be accurate with everything if you're not getting the portions and scanning the codes in the moment. If you're just trying to go back and remember what you had, you're not gonna be accurate. And honestly, that's why people struggle with their weight, is because they're not conscious of what they're eating and they're just trying to do the math in their head and they're saying, oh yeah, I probably had like 1,500 calories. But if you were to go and look at it in the moment, it was 35, it was 4,000 calories. And so here's 3 tips to help you be more consistent with your tracking. Number 1, make meals at home. You don't need to be going out to eat. You don't need to be ordering in all the time. I have a saying where food can either be transactional or experiential. And if you swing too far over to the spectrum of experiential, it makes it really hard to be consistent with your tracking. Number 2, track immediately after you eat. If you do that, you're gonna be much more accurate, able to get your portion sizes right, and able to scan everything. And number 3, even if you do go off the rails or have a bad day, still track it. You're still being aware, you're still being honest, you're still keeping the habit, and that way you can get an aggregate number for where you're at in the week and see where you can make changes. Okay, Paul, you're really frustrating me. I get my portions right, I track every single day, and I'm still not seeing results with tracking. I think I'm gonna quit. Now, before you do, let me give you the 3rd reason why tracking your nutrition isn't working. You may just be running into metabolic adaptation, especially if you've already lost a significant amount of weight during your weight loss journey. I don't have time to go into metabolic adaptation in this video. That would be an entirely separate video, but the cliff notes on metabolic adaptation is basically that your metabolism is constantly trying to find homeostasis. You might have already found that after losing 10, 15, 20 pounds, and your metabolism adapted, and that calories in, calories out number is now at a maintenance level. Ultimately, you might need to make an adjustment to your overall calorie intake to find a calorie deficit. And as referenced by this 2007 study here, you can either burn more calories through exercise to find your deficit, or you can decrease your energy intake by decreasing the amount of food that you're having. Another adjustment you could look into making is by changing the food quality or the macronutrient profile of what you're having, as referenced in this 2004 study. And so you might be wondering, why does this metabolic adaptation occur? Well, there's really 4 different reasons. It could be a combination of all 4. It could be one specifically why you're running into this plateau. Number 1, your NEAT may have decreased. Your non-exercise activity thermogenesis is essentially the movement that you have throughout the day that is not exercise, and that could be fidgeting, that could be walking around, that could be moving, that could be doing things with your hands. You're going to down-regulate your energy expenditure when energy is less available, especially over an extended period of time. Number 2, your weight loss has contributed to you having less mass, which requires less energy for your body to move. Let's say you were 300 pounds and you lost 100 and now you weigh 200 pounds. Well, your energy requirement is going to be less because it takes less energy to move the 200-pound individual. It's like if you had an F350 or you had a Prius. That Prius is gonna be more fuel efficient than the gas guzzling truck. Number 3, you have indirect hormone reduction. So you can definitely have changes in your cortisol, your insulin, your estrogen, or your testosterone, and that's going to affect the metabolic processes that are happening within your body that affects the energy out number in the calories in, calories out part of the equation. Number 4, your power output is also going to change. As you lose weight or as you decrease calories, your ability to put more effort or require more energy for you to put forth that effort in the gym is going to get smaller. So think about it this way. If you are in a calorie deficit, you have less energy, you're a little bit more fatigued training. Well, over the period of several months, several training sessions, you're not gonna be able to put as much effort into the training sessions as if you're in maintenance or even a surplus of calories because you have less available energy. So you're able to perform to a less intensity, and that impacts your ability to expend energy. Here's 3 tips to help you make an adjustment. Number 1, increasing your steps is going to be a much better option than decreasing your calories. You can always increase movement more, but there comes a point where it's no longer safe to decrease available energy. If you do suspect that hormone levels are contributing to your stalled progress, I would definitely recommend checking with a doctor, getting on medication, or creating a plan to get you back on track. And if you find yourself experiencing really negative biofeedback, your sleep, your stress levels, your hair, your skin, your performance in the gym even, that could be a sign that you just need to take a break from being in a calorie deficit and spend some time in maintenance and allow your body to recover. That's all for this video. If you want help setting your macros, I've got a link down below to my High Performance Health Kickoff, where I walk you through how you can set up your macros to lose weight and build muscle much faster. You can also find a link down below to learn more about coaching as well. If you got any questions or comments, please drop them down below. If you got value out of this video, please hit that like and subscribe button to catch future videos. My name is Paul Klingen, and I'll catch you on the next Return of the Athlete episode.